Hey everyone, this is Callum, and you are currently seeing the Game Jam submission that I have made for the Crimson Retro Jam, which was a 72-hour game jam, the themes of which were retro and spiritual successor. So I took this idea and I sort of ran with the spiritual side of it, and I wanted to make a game similar to a game called Minute, where in which you have only a very limited amount of time to explore the world before you get reset, and you have to solve puzzles this way, and you can make progress and get new save points and stuff. So overall it was a very ambitious project to undertake, but I think I managed to get the core mechanics in time. I just completely ran out of time for level design or any sort of puzzle, which is unfortunate, but you know, lessons learned. So the final product had a branching dialogue system, which would allow for events on every sort of screen of the dialogue. So whenever a character spoke, you would have the option to add in extra effects like camera shake, which was utilized, and you could also add pixelation. I had an effect that would allow the camera to pixelate as well. Additionally, I added in a soul shard system, so this was the sort of key feature that would make it different from Minute, where in Minute you would have 60 seconds flat. Once that runs out, you're gone. In this, I wanted to have some sort of life, some sort of essence, because you are supposed to be this human walking around in the spirit world. So I thought of the concept of soul shards, which basically you can drop whenever your time runs out. Part of your soul, it sort of leaves and it gets stuck in the world, and you can go find it, pick it up, and it will reset your timer. As of the final implementation, however, there was no real death scenario, so instead I implemented a very simple system where when you leave the intro area, the tutorial area, the door will close behind you and that will start the timer, and that basically meant that you couldn't go back in there and leave your soul shards there, and that would mean that whenever you ran out of soul shards, it would change the dialogue branch of the character that was near the door, just to say, listen, you've lost, but I didn't really have time to implement a proper lose feature. So here you go. Press Alt F4 to leave, because I also didn't have time to make any menus. Realistically, the timer for this soul shard system would have been around 60 seconds. However, I thought it was probably way too long for the area that was actually given, so I shrunk that down to 15 seconds. So that would mean that you could just simply wait around, or you could press the reset button to activate instant reset and just set yourself back to the start, but you would lose a soul shard in the process. Another feature that was added was a basic procedural character animation for the player characters and also the ghosts. If they were to move, they would also be able to make use of this procedural animator as well. The final thing that I managed to add was a lot of shaders. As you can see from the video, I think this looks really cool. I added a bunch of emission effects and a lot of bloom to the camera. There was a very cool smoke effect, and also the pixelation of the camera was, I think, a key component to making this look retro, but at the same time just improving the graphics a lot, because I'm a developer, I'm not an artist, so this is full of programmer art. All of the characters are just spheres that I've stacked on top of each other and coloured slightly. It would look absolutely atrocious if I was to run this without the pixelation shader, but because of the pixelation shader, I think it looks really cool. The atmosphere is definitely there, and that's something that I managed to sort of land with the torch and the darkness and the shadows and stuff. I think it looks really cool. So I'd say overall from this experience, I've learned not to be too overly ambitious for my game projects, because this was very, very ambitious. This was a very ambitious project. I think next time I'll definitely be simplifying the mechanics depending on whatever time period of the game jam is. Also, I've learned that as cool as this looks, gameplay is much more important than visuals. This may look really good, but at the same time, there is just no playable game here. There's just a bunch of loose mechanics and no real way to utilize them and explore them. Hopefully next time I'll be able to prioritize the gameplay and then also make it look nice towards the end. So this was my submission for the Crimson Retro Jam. I'll definitely be making more of these in the future. I've really got to get back to my dissertation. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.